Woohoo. We made it for another Wednesday by the seat of our pants.
We did, and I guess this is the first one, so Happy New Year, everybody.
It is.
Right.
Let 2021 be better than 2020 was.
I hope so. I just, and you just don't really want to turn on the TV right now because of all the trouble in Washington, D.C. They've called in the National Guard. It's like, no. Okay, I want to remind people that I can't even go there. I have to remind people today is the day you spend your 3 pennies. If you wrapped them up on New Year's Eve and put them on your windowsill, today is the 6th. It's the Epiphany, Feast of the Three Kings. So you take the tin foil off and go out and spend the money today, the 3 cents. I mean, I've already taken it and just put it in the change cup at the cash register. Just give it back someplace. I mean, you can't buy a gumball for a penny now, so you need to do something.
No.
So, and we tried leaving it at a restaurant when you could go out to eat in a restaurant, and the look on the poor waitress's face that would come over with the paper money for the tip and then 6 pennies. It's like, I think they're trying to figure out, what did I do wrong that I got 6 pennies? So, it's not worth it. Don't leave it there either. Okay. Now I got it right. I got an interesting thing. Pennies, United States, but apparently United States is very unique with pennies. Canada doesn't have pennies. And I don't know how many other countries do not have pennies. So I think I'm just going to throw it out there. The lowest denomination coin in your money, those would be the 3 that you wrap up.
Now, do you think you went the other way, that if the lowest denomination gets you wealth, what if you were to do quarters or dollar coins? Would it come back even greater than that?
Well, it's amazing. I mean, the customs that we talked about last week to do for New Year's Eve, it's amazing how many people said, well, our family does this and we do this. And just what you said, we put a dollar bill out on Christmas, New Year's Eve, and we spend it on New Year's Day. So they just spend theirs the next day. Mm-hmm. Or another one said everybody would come in the kitchen on New Year's Eve and empty out their pockets of whatever money they have in their pockets. It all went on a windowsill. And 3 days after that, everybody took back their money, but they didn't say anything about spending it. So, it's weird. Every family just has their own, little things. So it's amazing. I think we got like over 100 responses to that. It is like, here I thought I was telling people something really cool, but apparently this 3 penny thing, which I did not know, originated in Italy. Go figure. So
how appropriate then that, that's the one that works for you, and that
it's like, oh my gosh, you're kidding me.
Yeah, I made sure to eat pork on New Year's Day.
Fried lentils.
Oh, I'm not a lentil fan. But I did like some cleaning up around the house just to let go of the old, have space in for the new. Midwinter cleaning, I guess, instead of summer cleaning.
Right, exactly. But it's funny when you take the tree down and you remove the furniture back, it's like, gosh, the house looks so clean. It looks so empty. It's so quiet. The energy is so much different when you take down the Christmas decorations.
Yeah. Well, I feel that way when my Halloween comes down.
Well, yeah, here too, but it's I don't know if it seems more in Christmas because it's so dreary and dark. Maybe that's why I feel it more Christmas than I do at least October. You got pretty leaves on the trees and everything. So
True, true. Oh, so we have Patrick with us, Marlena, Divine Woo, and Kayla. Hello, everybody. Oh, here's a good question from Patrick. It says, "Hi, Marianne. I was watching a show on Netflix about life after death. It seems that a lot of people see a tunnel when they die. I was wondering if the tunnel is the white light."
Well, the white light, when people start walking into it, apparently it is like a tunnel. People that have had near-death experiences talk about the white light. They see people at the end of that white light and they start walking into the tunnel to see those people. But if it's not their time to die, then that's when they pop back in their bodies and they go back. But people that actually remember it well, and the stories are the same from everywhere around the world, people that are in that white light on a near-death experience, they do not really want to come back. Apparently, the love is so encompassing in the people that you see, no matter who's behind you, you just want to go forward. But again, if it's not your time, but yes, people do call it the tunnel. And I guess when I make that white light and I watch them walk in, they go farther and farther until they sort of disappear, which could be described as a tunnel.
I kind of wondered that, and I never thought to ask, and well, it never dawned on me till now. So thank you, Patrick. Oh, Sandy from Drurybury, Ohio says hi. Bury. It's dreary here too. It's pretty blah.
Everywhere.
Marie asks, when someone dies, are they aware that their light is diminishing and that they might be making a grave mistake by choosing to stay, or is it a surprise to them after the light is gone?
No, it is certainly not a surprise to them. The very second they take their last breath, that white light is there. They actually start seeing people that have died before them that they know, friends, loved ones, relatives, and they are motioning, come on, come on, come on. They can't talk to them, but they're trying to convince them to come into the light. Most people will stay for their funerals, and that's how long the light will stay. But as soon as the final memorial service is over, that's when the light starts getting smaller and smaller, and it only lasts for, everybody's a little bit different, but about 48 to 72 hours after the final memorial service. And they start seeing that it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And if they don't go into it, it's going to disappear. So, no, they're very aware of it. They know that they're supposed to go into it. It's whether they go into it or not. That's why, and I may as well say now, any of you that decide to stick around and give somebody grief after you die, which I really wouldn't recommend, but if you lose your light, all you have to do is go to a funeral home that has a service going on, and that person that is dead and their spirit standing at the foot of their casket has white light around them. You can use that white light to go into, so you can cross over, so you won't be stuck anymore, because that's not an individual's light, that's a universal light. So you just have to bebop into it and you'll be where you need to be.
Oh, so Natalie and Mike joining us. And Natalie asks, Marianne, when you're out in public, do people recognize who you are, and do they come up and say hi? And do you mind if they do?
I do not mind if they do. And it's funny, it's not so much they recognize me, but they recognize my voice for some reason. I don't know. I think my voice is like everybody else's. But we've already been, again, when you could do it, when we were in a restaurant eating and somebody taps me on the shoulder from the table behind me and go, "Are you Marianne?" And it's like, yeah. And I said, "How did you know?" "Oh, I could tell by your voice." It's like, okay. And I was in Heinen's checking out and talking to the cash register lady, and a customer that was checking out in the aisle over turns around, she says, "Oh, it is you. I recognized your voice." So no, but it doesn't bother me. I think it's weird, but it doesn't bother me at all.
Let's see. Now, anybody new joining us today, feel free to ask questions in the chat. Marianne's going to answer them live for you.
I need to bring up the new moon, which is next week, Wednesday. And we'll be on, of course. And that's the day of the new moon, which means that is the day you write your law of abundance check. And this one is a pistol. The new moon peaks next week, Wednesday at midnight. So you have to stay up on Tuesday night, and as soon as the clock strikes midnight, write your check out. I've never, in all the years I've done this, I've never seen one this hard to do. And I mean, I thought 2 minutes after 12 was hard, but this is ridiculous. And it's only our time zone, of course, because we're Eastern Standard Time. So some people, I'm sure, will set the clock and get up and to do it, just do it at least 10 minutes before so you're awake. And I don't know what else to tell you. If you miss it, still write it out anyway that day. It won't be as strong as doing it when you're supposed to, but at least do it sometime next Wednesday, if you can do it. And the heck of it is, I hate to not do the first one of the year.
Right.
It would like, I just don't want to make it set up for the rest of the year that I'm going to, goof off and not do it right. So plus it's a new year. You'd like to start it off on the right foot. So we'll be setting clocks, probably more than one, because sometimes you just don't hear the first one. So.
Now, could somebody make out most of the check and then just sign?
No, somebody asked me that. Nah. You have to take the effort and the energy to write the whole thing. Leave the pen out, the paper out, leave it all ready to go. Make sure the pen works. I could just see getting up and trying to use the pen and trying to find a pen then because it didn't work. So just make sure everything works before you go to sleep, so that when you so that when you wake up, it's all ready to go.
Do your scribble test and be ready on scrap paper.
That's right.
All right, so we have Donna from Missouri joining us. Hello, Donna. Let's see, some more coming in. All right, Annie, what does it mean if you see an angel? She had her hands folded and was just standing at the front door outside. She had a halo above her head.
Oh, that's really good. That's you're very lucky that you can see angels, because a lot of people cannot do that. But they're all around us. Maybe it was a guardian angel. Maybe it was there's somebody that was with somebody in the house. And the seeds. I think I know who you are. And the seeds that are over your house would not stop an angel from coming in, and it wouldn't stop anybody from the light from coming in. So no, angels are good. You're and you can see angels. I know who you are now. And definitely, no, you just have a nice talent for being able to see angels. So that a lot of people would be able to do that. So would like to be able to do that. So that's good.
Let's see. Oh, Carla. Hello, Carla. She's been with us before. Says that she's in Central Time. So would they do it the day prior to the peak at 11 p.m.? They're an hour behind, right? So if we're midnight, they would be at 11.
No, it has to be filled in on the 13th. That's the date. So.
Well, if it peaks at 11 p.m. for them, if we wanted to take the confusion.
Theirs would be on the 12th then, or correct. Theirs would be on the 12th. Exactly right. You are right. You would do it on the 12th at 11, which is going to be easy for you right before the news starts. So that's good.
We're all going to go to her house on that day.
Right. So anybody from that side out will be doing it on Tuesday instead of Wednesday. They'll be doing theirs on the 12th.
All right. Oh, Dana says hello, our friend Dana. And Donna asks, can late animals hang around in your house that have passed on as well?
They can. They come back for visits, and you do see them in your dream also. And yeah, and there are animals that do not go to the light. I think I've talked about it before that a lady had hunting dogs, retrievers of some kind, and I had done her house, and the seeds were over all the doors, which was terrific. And then she calls me up one day and she says, my dogs are going crazy. They just want to go down the basement. They're howling like they're on point. They're looking at stuff down the basement. So I said, take the phone, go down the basement. There was a ghost raccoon in the basement. And of course, a raccoon could come in through a window. I mean, raccoons use windows. And I had no idea how to get rid of a raccoon. I had no idea. I don't talk raccoon. I'm not Dr. whatever his name was that talked to all the animals. So I just like, yow. So I said, I said, Smudge, maybe the smoke will scare it out of the window. And she did live in a very wooded area. So I said, we're going to protect your seed with your basement window seed with seeds just to make sure. Mm-hmm. And it took, I think, three or four smudgings before that stubborn raccoon did leave. She even opened the basement window up so that it could go out. It didn't have to go through the window. But once we got the seeds up down there, but you know, there's exceptions to everything. And it's like I tell people, adult ghosts do not hang around. They don't sit around at night and play pinochle. They don't even stay in the same room. But the exception, of course, is children. Children like children, whether they're alive or dead. So you can see 2 or 3 or a group of ghost kids hanging out together. That is not that unusual.
Well, and I wonder if because they're smaller, maybe that doesn't work either.
No, because the energy would be affected, but maybe
they need less because they're smaller, but then you would think.
Maybe, I'll go with that. I mean, there has to be a reason more than just liking kids, I guess.
Yeah. But then the other side of the fence said spirit to spirit and, you know, a massive type of energy.
Seriously, there are days I have more questions than answers. You know, people come up with these questions and it's like, dude, let me think about that one for a while. I don't know.
No pressure, but we expect you to have everything figured out, Marion.
That's no, and I
don't. Let's see. So Cindy asks, I have found out that 2 of the previous owners of my home were alcoholics, and the ex was as well. Is there potentially something about the property?
There absolutely probably is. You could have a couple of things going on with the property. If there were 2 alcoholics that lived in the house, you could have a possible portal in the house from one of them having a binge and you know, alcoholics run the gamut for being sweet, happy alcoholics to being mean alcoholics. So who knows what kind they were. So you could have a portal in the house from one of them. If it's a portal, then not nice spirits are coming through that. And they could be trying to influence your boyfriend or influence anybody that had any kind of, if you're addicted to pills or booze or whatever an addiction is, you're going to have a hard time because they definitely try to make the person start drinking again. Look at the YouTube from last week. There was a story on that about a drunk ghost or a ghost that had been an alcoholic that died of alcoholism was trying to convince 2 men that were on the wagon to start drinking again. So that's on YouTube last Wednesday. But yes, absolutely, they can affect somebody that, and like I said last Wednesday too, these places where people go for the cure, where they're in there for 24 hours, 48 hours, 2 months, those places are full of earthbound spirits. And, you know, they get clean, they get the drugs to help them get clean, and they're being honest. I swear I'm not going to do it again. But if an earthbound spirit follows that person home once they're clean, it's not going to last. They're going to fall off the wagon.
I think some traditions will call those cause spirits because they cause the problem or the situation to reemerge, and
Well, it's like people that truckers will call ghosts on highways hitchhiker ghosts, because they'll hitch a ride onto a trucker. And I mean, normally, why would a ghost stand in the street? Who are they going to get energy from? But if they can hook up with a trucker, and there's a lot of trucks on the road, so yeah. But yeah, that's people put little handles on everything anymore. So.
Marlena said we should go to her house. She's in New Mexico, and new moon will peak at 10.
Oh, and California would even be better. That would be nice.
Right? Let's see. Carla ordered a quinceañera, and she's waiting for it to show up in Missouri. So yay. Hopefully it gets there soon.
Checking the post office keeps saying they're on their way. I don't know how long people are supposed to wait. Actually, Ted checked into looking at UPS instead of doing the postal service, but you really couldn't afford to send everything out UPS. So
yeah, it's got to be a certain type of box in a certain weight before it gets better with UPS.
Yeah, it's never going to work. And you can't expect somebody that buys a dream bag for $8 to pay $18 to have it shipped. That's ridiculous.
Right.
So you just got to, just keep our fingers crossed that everybody's going to get their stuff pretty soon anyway. I got a Christmas card yesterday from friends in Florida, from Punta Gorda, Florida. And the date that they sent it was December 2nd.
Oh, wow.
Over a month to get here. And it was just a Christmas card. It wasn't a package, just a Christmas card.
Just a thin little light card.
I know.
Well, Lewis, our buddy over across the big pond, says, is there anything else out there that can keep out or trap spirits like quince seeds? Because, him being over there, he can't really order a seed.
No, you can't. There are a lot of things that people try. And one of the things that you could probably try, let's go with Native American, they put tobacco leaves over the doors. That's supposed to be very, very strong for them. The other thing that you might want to try, and you could do this with tobacco leaves or the blessed palms from Palm Sunday. If you burn them and put a dab of that ash over the door, that might, help. Sea salt has, like maybe an 80% chance, but you can't put it over the door. That would have to be on the floor. And you really don't want to go crunching through salt on the floor unless you have carpeting. So there are some things you can try. And if they get in smudge, that's the best thing that you can do, because that at least will get them out. I wish you knew somebody here in the States that could order it, then they could ship it to you. A lot of people out of the country, that's what they do. They have friends or relatives that live in the States, and we ship it to them, and then they send a care package to you with the little seed in it. So maybe there's somebody here that that can send that to you. But just to send the package with the seed in it, you'll never get it. And we have it tracked, so it's not our post office that's doing it. It's wherever it lands in the foreign country. Somebody there is scarfing up on those things because the owners or whoever's getting them never get them.
It's a shame.
I know.
Sandy has one of your dream bags and says she must be super sensitive. I have it on my dresser across from my bed. I remembered my dream since putting it there. Because I know you say under the pillow, but
right. If it's working there, good. At least you're not going to accidentally throw it in the washer and dryer. Except they still work if you do. But no, that's terrific. I'm glad to hear that. I've had other people, just like I've had people that are very the smell of the bag, they're very allergic to the smell of it. It really disturbs them. So if you put it in a Ziploc bag, it still works. So across the room on the dresser, that wouldn't surprise me. That's pretty cool. Thank you for letting us know.
Awesome. Divine asks if you've ever been in the White House and did you see anybody in the White House?
I have. Actually, I've been on the outside of the White House as an adult. But as a Girl Scout, I knew that was going to get you, Melissa. But as a Girl Scout, our troop did go to Washington, D.C., and we got, I guess, because, well, back then I don't think we were as good as the Boy Scouts, but because we were Girl Scouts, we did get to go to Congress and we got to go through a special tour of the White House. I did see stuff in the house, earthbound spirits. I don't think I saw anybody famous like Lincoln or anything. But with so many people there and so many people that work in the White House, there were ghosts running all over the place. And look at the tension in a white. Can you imagine what's going on in that White House now with ghosts? I would hate to think who's in there. And I wonder how many, because I don't think I really knew about it when I was like 11 or 12 years old. I wonder how many portals are blown open in the White House. Or Congress or Senate.
Yeah. That would probably be
and I'll bet you 3/4 of those people have a curse.
Oh,
I bet you 90% of the people have a curse. From the top down,
I would say probably all of them would,
Yeah, because they work with such negative people all the time. Everybody's out to get everybody else. I mean, oh my gosh.
And then all of the voters who were voting against them, and when their person doesn't win, all the negative comments that are out there.
Exactly right. Why anybody would want that job, I have no idea. I know maybe 6 congressmen, 8 down to 6, 2 died. So there's at least 6 senators that at least have the Quince seat on them. So they're, I think they're probably okay because they wear the seed. But that's so maybe it's 99.99999 that have a curse on them.
Yeah, I would never want to be in politics, and I tend to try and not get into the conversations. Like I have better things to do with my day than argue about it.
Right.
So Lisa asked, how do you know if a spirit in your house is good or bad? We have had a spirit in our house since our kids, who are now grown, were small. They and my husband would get bad vibes, but she doesn't.
Okay. If I can see them, then they are earthbound, which are the ghosts you do not want in the house, because those are the ones that drain the energy, obviously make your kids and your husband feel not good. So those are ones that you do not want in the house. And I guess, obviously, if you have small kids and they're grown now, you've lived in this situation for a while. I think I would take your husband's word for it that there's something there that shouldn't be there. And I would, smudge or have ordained priest or minister come in and bless the house, do something, get on Zoom. Let's make sure if you actually have something in the house or not. And because I could tell from that also. And you have good ones in the house. Everybody does. Everybody has a guardian angel. Everybody has spirit guides in the house. You've got a crowd of good ones in the house, but it's the earthbound ones that you do not want in the house.
Donna asked, how is it that her daughter can get a hold of you for a phone session? She's had some incidences that happened. So what people would have to do is call you and leave a message, right?
Correct. They would have to call from where the problem is and leave a 1-minute message at least. If you're calling on a cell phone, please, please leave times when you are going to be at home with your cell phone. I can't tell you anything if you're getting a pedicure or you're out at the grocery store. I need to talk to you from the house. And the wait time now on phone calls is about 9 weeks. Sorry.
Otherwise, if they were to join the Spirited Evening, which the next one would be the 18th, that has openings, could find out right away that evening.
Correct. And you have, options that you can do at that point. But at least you would know for sure if something is going on or not.
Right. All right. Another question from AW says, do you ever see spirits in a state of decay? You say the spirit is whole, but people report seeing them in a messy sort of way.
Truly, the ones that report that, I have no idea what they're looking at. The body is decayed or messy or missing parts and pieces. The spirit is always whole. I mean, that show just jumps right out of my head. The one with the kid, Sixth Sense. Was that it? Yeah. Kids ghosts hanging off ceilings, throwing up, all bloody and gory. TV, the movies. Somebody that says they can see a decayed spirit, you have to show me, because I have never, ever, ever seen a decayed spirit. And considering I was seeing them since I was 2, that's considerably over 70 years now. I think I would have seen one by now.
Marie asked, have you ever met a spirit who hitched a ride on an airplane and ended up in the U.S.?
They do not have to use a plane to fly. They can be from here to there in a heartbeat. They're pure energy. But they do like to ride planes because they're the ones that can cause the electrical problems on a plane where you've been in line for 10 minutes to take off and now you have to get out of line because all of a sudden the lights aren't working or they're getting weird buzzing in the cockpit. But they are on planes a lot because people are scared to death to fly. I mean, I'm going to guess at least 90% of you, when you land, when you're in a plane and you land, don't tell me you don't have your foot on the floor pushing down on the brake to help the pilot. You do it. I do it. Everybody does it. And look at the energy that's in there. Ghosts love to get on planes, but they do not need a plane to go from here to there. Pure energy.
Oh, well, Divine says when you're in DC to come visit, you worked at the Library of Congress. Field trip.
Oh, yeah, there we go. The Library of Congress in DC. No. The Ghostbusters in the movie went to some library too, but that was probably in New York City, not DC.
How do we get scheduled for a ghost walk in the Library of Congress? We need a hookup.
I've done a lot of libraries in this area because libraries do have a lot of, when the librarian comes in the morning and a whole shelf of books is on the floor, somebody's doing it. It's not big mice. Somebody's knocking those books off the shelf.
I could see one on a library, but I would want it like in a warm place. Like I'm going to go haunt something in Cancun.
Oh, there you go. Okay. I'll tell you where there are definitely a lot of ghosts in libraries on college campuses.
Oh, yeah.
Those are full. But of course, college campuses are full. So, but libraries on college campuses are really, really full.
All the stress from the studying and the tests and mom and dad's expectations.
We're not studying. Yeah, right.
That too. There's the other side of the fence. So Margie's going to join us for the first time on Zoom and was wanting to know, is there anything she needs to do to prepare?
No, the only thing is if you have young children in the house, make sure they are nowhere around. Keep the door shut. Kids don't need to hear what I have to say. That's why it's for 18 and over. And kids have a way of listening at the door. You know, if you've got a ghost in your house and I tell you about it, it's your job to tell your children if you want them to know, not my job. So that's why I don't allow any children on.
Right. Let's see. Oh, Marianne joining us. Hey, Marianne. She's local here to the area. Carla is wanting to know with Ruth, if you think Ruth Bader is hanging around in one of the buildings there.
You know, I saw a picture of her the other day for some reason on something. I don't know where it was. And I wondered, because let's face it, anybody that sits on the Supreme Court, they have to have pretty big ego. Plus, they have to think that they're probably right most of the time. And because she never, with all the illnesses that she had and all the cancer she went through, she just kept up. Wasn't going to stop her. So I'm wondering if she doesn't think that death isn't going to stop her also. You know, I guess she probably was married. I would think her husband was probably dead. But what's more important sometimes, I don't know. But she may be around. I don't know.
You know, and I would have thought of that. I mean, if there was a politician of some sorts, like, she would be a cool one to talk to. I've listened to some really cool, like, NPR things on her and how she got started. And, you know, she's pretty feisty and sassy.
Well, and that's why I think that might be a reason why she would stay, to make sure who's ever taken over her spot is doing it like she thinks it should be done.
Right. Like, you're not doing it right. Do it right.
Do it my way, right?
And Lewis says, you know, I couldn't imagine anything worse than a frat guy ghost.
And I will tell you who they haunt, Lewis. They're in the girls' dormitory. That's where the fat ghost is hanging out at.
Oh my God. See, another reason, go into trade school. Does social media host ghosts? And that's a good question, because, you know, sometimes you'll hear where people are like, oh, the ghost will come through the TV, or the bad vibes from a TV show will, you know, kind of perpetuate. And
Right. I know that if an earthbound spirit is standing next to a television, the TV will go wonky or it'll go off, it'll switch channels. But the same thing happens if they're standing close to a computer or a printer or a cell phone that doesn't work all the time. But like where that little lady was in the television, I don't know what movie that was, telling Sally Ann or Charlotte to go to the light or whatever her name was. I've never seen. What was that?
Was it the poltergeist one?
Yeah, I think maybe that was it. You know, I've never seen that. I don't think they go. Why would they have to when they can just be in the regular room with the person and cause problems? Again, it's because I've never seen it, like a decayed earthbound spirit. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just means that I have never seen it.
Right. Yeah. I think there was even like belief that if you were watching like one of those reality ghost hunting things, that the ghost of wherever they're at would come through the TV and now be in your house. And I'm like,
no, absolutely not. To begin with, how many of those are replays? Which means none of them are
Or
live as it's happening.
mhm.
So that would be another no. And they've got, if there's a ghost where they are filming at, if they are really seeing and talking to an earthbound spirit, with the cameraman and the actors and the house they're in, why would they go? They've got all the energy right there that they need. Why would they pop into your house? Just like people ask, I watch all of those shows. Does that mean a ghost is going to come around me because I watch them? No. There's a lot of people that watch the Mass every day on TV, and God doesn't come to them in their living room. So, no, a ghost isn't going to come into your living room just because you watch a certain TV show. No.
Right. And even if so, what makes you more special than how many other thousands of people watching that they pick you?
Watching. That's exactly right.
Let's see. There was one other, and it's popping around. Oh, let's see. Have you ever used spirits to your advantage? For example, telling a spirit that you will send them into the light if they tell you what a boyfriend was doing. That's blackmail.
Oh my gosh. Okay. You have to realize a lot of the ghosts that I run across haven't talked to anybody for years. I mean, how many people can actually talk to an earthbound spirit? So, I mean, I'm sitting around a table talking to the owners with the ghost standing over there, whose mouth has not stopped running since I walked in. It's like somebody dropped a quarter in their ear and they're just running off at the mouth because they could finally talk to somebody. Most of them are gossips. They want to tell me who's sleeping with who, or what the neighbor next door is doing, or something like that. I've gotten some really good information where I've walked out, gotten home, and called Children's Services, the Animal Protective League, to report what went on in the house because of a ghost told me that what Uncle Al down the basement is doing to the kids in the middle of the night. And so I've done things like that. But what I have started doing, and well, I haven't been doing it for a number of years now, before I let their ghosts go, I will let the homeowners or who's ever sitting there, whoever has me there, who's ever invited me to the house, you can ask the ghost to find two people for you that have died and hopefully crossed over that you would like to see in a dream. Mm-hmm. And they will do, well, most of them will do that because they're going to the light and they're going to find, their mother for them. They give me the mother's name, full name. The ghost says, okay, they go on the light. And within 3 weeks, usually mom will come in a dream. So that's about all I've ever asked them to do is to go to the, when they go into the light, and it's not for me, it's for whoever has me at their house. Right. And most of them get the dream eventually. I mean, one guy asked for Cary Grant, another one asked for John Lennon. I don't know about that, but relatives or friends, they'll usually get that dream with their friend or relative in it.
I was say that's a pretty big order. Like, why would John Lennon want to come talk to you if he didn't know you?
Yeah, well, yeah, and
I mean, infinite space and infinite energy out. Could work.
I'm not going to tell them no. This is the thing, though, that when they ask me for something which I consider a little outlandish, okay, it's like, well, why don't you do this? Why don't you ask to talk to your grandmother? And then when your grandma comes and you get used to talking to her in a dream, send grandma off to find them and bring them back. That way you're not wasting your one or two choices that you have. Ask for somebody to come in a dream that's reasonable. Kennedy, Marilyn Monroe, Cary Grant. Really? I don't think so. They've got their own relatives.
Now, what if they reincarnated? Are they going to be able to come back and
Still
talk
a piece
to
of you left in that's left. So even though somebody is reincarnated, you can still dream of somebody that died and talk to them.
Because I'm sure somebody was going to ask that. My cat's over there chirping, so ignore.
Okay.
2 cents if you can hear him. So Donna asked, what do you do about a little girl that says she has a man under her bed who is black? Come to find out, the house was built on a slave plantation.
Okay, you are assuming that because it was a plantation, that it had to be a black man that died. You have to remember that when you see a black form, that is how they are projecting their energy. That does not mean that they are a black person. They can be any nationality, but they look like a black shadow. Shadow people, they call them. And let's face it, all shadow people are black. Well, that doesn't mean that they are actually black when they were living. But trust the kid. If she said somebody is under her bed scaring her, kids are good. Listen to your children. If they're in bed with you every night at 2 o'clock in the morning, you got a problem. So, come on Zoom and let's see if there really is something in the bedroom that's scaring her. I mean, will she go in the bedroom during the day and play by herself? Why is she afraid? But hiding under the bed or creeping out of the closet is 2 pretty common things that kids see in their bedrooms.
I know as a kid, I did not like my closet door being open. It needed to be shut, and all the dresser doors needed to be shut. I'm still kind of like
when
that.
you were a kid. Yeah, and there's a lot of areas that people don't have basements, but where there are areas where there are basements in houses, how many times, if your mother sent you down into the basement or the cellar to get something, did you hum, whistle, or skip all the way down and all the way back up so it wouldn't get you? I mean, that's what we did. I did that. We all did that. And you don't sleep with your feet out from under the covers because you never know who's going to pull you under if you do. So listen, kids, seriously, if they're afraid, there's a really good reason for it.
Vangela, can Earthbound see those who have crossed into the light?
Let me reverse that for you. Earthbounds can't see into the light and see anybody there. However, if the earthbound spirit had some ability when they were alive, and they can tell me then, oh yeah, well, her mother died 5 years ago, but she comes and visits. So sometimes I can get information from the homeowners from the earthbound spirit that has some ability to see somebody that has crossed over. It's not very common, but it can happen, yes.
Well, once that light closes, they can't.
It cannot.
Oh, hi, Gail. Gail's a friend of mine and her husband. Hi, guys. Oh, Lewis, yeah. Don't sleep with your leg hanging off the bed. Now that I'm middle-aged, I dare, pull me. Go ahead and pull me under.
You'd be the first one to go screaming out of the house if somebody pulled you out of your bed by your leg.
I'm sure at some point I'm going to get thrown through a wall because I'm the person to go into Honda place and I'm like, come on, not scared. Come here. And nothing usually happens, but I'm sure at some point I will get thrown through a wall.
It's funny. I did a house for, I did a lot of houses for a lot of the ball players in Cleveland. And I did a house for one of our the Cleveland Indians pitchers. And, well, now I started this. I don't know how I'm going to finish this. Yeah. So anyway, this particular catcher was a very good friend of Kenny Lofton. And so Kenny was fascinated with this stuff. He believed it 100%. And he was just absolutely fascinated with it. So the day that I went to do the catcher's house, the catcher was there and his wife was there. And Kenny came in with this 35 millimeter camera with all of this. I mean, you're talking 20 some years ago. Wasn't a cell phone camera. He had the whole big bang thing. So the catcher says to me, so where is the ghost? I says, well, the one's standing right over there. I says, but there's two down the basement. And boy, would watch Kenny Lofton on TV catch balls or whatever. That man could run, let me tell you. He grabbed his camera around his neck, held onto it, and raced down the basement steps. He went right to them. And I was absolutely floored because they're very superstitious, let's put it that way. And so I'm thinking, so the catcher yells down, "Are you okay?" And he goes, "Yeah, but I don't see anything." I says, I'm coming. So I go downstairs and I says, well, there's one right there. And he's looking and he said, I'm going to take a picture. I says, go ahead, no flash. So he takes a picture. And I thought about it. I says, go stand by that window. And he did. And all of a sudden he says, oh my God, it's freezing right here. I says, you're standing right next to him. Kaboom, right up the steps. No more pictures.
Oh, well, I was just getting ready to say I have a proposal that we have a Kenny Lofton and Mary Ann ghost hunting TV show.
He doesn't even live in Ohio anymore.
I never got to meet him, but he was always the Indian player that I always wanted, to go meet. Just something about him,
Very, very nice. Most of the Indian players are really, really, really nice. I mean, really nice.
Yeah, Lofton, and I liked Shopik, and of course he's gone too. Let's see. So let's circle back real quick because I keep seeing this question, and we've talked about the law of abundance, but it keeps coming up. There's questions about why it's so hard to write this one, and I think it's really just because it's so late at night.
Because of the timing, right? I mean, it's a lot easier if it's at 7 o'clock in the morning when it peaks to write it after midnight but before 7 a.m. Or if it's 11 o'clock at night after midnight but before 11 p.m. But at midnight, I mean, the whole thing is to write it before it peaks. So that's why you have to write it in that minute. As soon as it strikes midnight, you would have to write it. So
So from midnight to when it peaks, that's what determines that time frame, and that's why this one is such a bit of a challenge.
Right.
I said, thank you for the info about eating fowl on January 1st. We were about to eat roast chicken, needless to say, salad. So glad you caught that beforehand.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, you would need to write your check before 12:01, which if you make a little check, it's not even a 30-second thing. Have your paper ready to go, scribble, test your pen first, and just do it.
Try to do it right around that up hands.
So back to the little girl with the guy under her bed. Is there something that we can put in the room to ward off the spirit under the bed because she's terrified to be in that room at night and she's only 3?
See, a kid shouldn't be afraid in their own bedroom. 3 years old. I guess what I would do is at least smudge her bedroom. So who's ever in the house will not go in her bedroom when she's in there. And because of her age, obviously you don't want to do that when she's anywhere around because you're too young for all that smoke. But do her bedroom at least once every 4 or 5 days. Keep the door shut. After 2 hours, open the window up and air the room out. At least whoever is in the house will not be able to go into the bedroom. So, I mean, if you're, I don't know if you're local, maybe it should be taken care of. may have an ordained priest or minister come in and bless the house. Maybe that'll get rid of them. You know, I I would not want my child to be afraid in their own house.
Yeah, I'd have to. When we had the ones earlier, like I noticed my kid that would be half hanging off the bed, sleeping with his butt up in the air, suddenly started burritoing himself. And that was his way of, if I don't see it, it's not really there.
You know, how many of us, when our kids were, as long as till we could get away with it without them screaming at us, before you go to bed at night, you open up their bedroom door to make sure they're okay. How many of you, when you check on your kids before you go to bed at night, do they have the covers over their head? Who are they hiding from?
Mm-hmm. Well, mine's like that now, and I don't know how he breathes, but my house is good. You would tell me.
Your house is perfect. Not a problem.
There was the question, and I can't find it because so many things are popping in, but the question was, are shadow people always negative?
Shadow people are probably almost all earthbound spirits, yeah. I have never heard of anybody that can see them that have crossed over, see them as a shadow person. So I would say yes.
Okay. And then Mila would like follow up as, do you know where they come from or what creates them?
Again, they could be the person that had owned the house. They could be somebody that died next door. They could be somebody that followed somebody home from a mall or an antique store. And again, just because you're seeing them as a black shadow does not mean they're bad. That doesn't mean they're negative. That is how their energy around them is allowing you to see them. But that doesn't mean that they're a bad person at all just because they are black. It does not mean that at all.
So Marie asks, do spirits ever have a hard time leaving their loved ones, like a spouse or child, and stay with them until they eventually die and cross over together?
That's pretty common, especially with older people. I've said this before, nursing homes are full of women because if you ask a man, we kill them. So that's why there's so many women left and the husbands are dead. But the amount of old men ghosts hanging out in nursing homes is phenomenal, waiting for their wives. So they're just going to cross over when their wives die. And on the other hand, though, if you have a child that dies and the child is like 3 and up, a guardian angel, somebody comes and gets them. But if they're 5, 6, 7 and they die, health, whatever, accidental, but there are the parents totally tore up and you should, obviously that's the way it would be. They're standing there and they're thinking, well, gee, I see grandma in the light and she's waving at me to come, but look at mommy and daddy. Maybe I better stay with mommy and daddy. Well, that's what they do then. They let their light go and life does go on. And, you know, the kid doesn't get any older. He was 5 when he died. He's going to stay 5 until he goes into the light. His brothers and sisters have grown up and now mom and dad are you know, divorced and living in 2 different states. But he's doing it because of how he saw you. So yeah, there are definitely people that stay because of loved ones. Absolutely. And they will cross over with them. Yes.
And the same thing with pets. Like you said, your major is waiting.
My Bashan is still he's somewhere around here. He's always here and followed me from 4 different houses. So he's one I just can't get to cross over.
A little stubborn little guy.
Yes.
Lewis asks, was it difficult explaining to your family what you do? I remember you mentioning that your daughter could do it. Was it difficult to teach her? And he loves your eyebrows.
Well, thank you for my eyebrows. You know, my grandmother obviously knew about it. Grandma never told my mother or father about this. My parents did not know when grandma was taking me to funerals what I was doing or taking me to New York or taking me anywhere. And I did not want to do to our girls what my grandmother did to me. And so we never told our girls what I could do. And then Tara had that epiphany when she was working in a hospital and saw a ghost there. But she was already, like 16, 17 years old. So then we finally told the girls and my family. And it was weird because we showed dogs for years. So I would actually do a lot of houses in a lot of states way back when. And we did go to the dog shows, but while Ted was there showing or grooming the dog before we would show him, I would take the car and go do somebody's house close to wherever the dog show was. But my family just thought, well, they're in Illinois or they're in New York or they're wherever showing dogs. And so they were a little surprised. I have three younger sisters. The one under me is positively knows I could sell snow to an Eskimo. And the sister under her definitely believes it, and the sister under her believe it. But it took a little time for them to believe it. I wanted Tara to come with me, the one that can see them, and she didn't want to. She's like, no. And I says, so I would bribe her. Well, come on with me and I'll buy you lunch after. Or come on with me and I'll buy you a new outfit. And she wouldn't sit with us when I was talking to the people. She'd sit in the living room. Like when Ted goes with me now, he doesn't sit with me when I do somebody's house. He sits in the family room or the living room. And so I would get rid of him and we'd get in the car and I would tell Tara, I'd say, wow, you should see how gaudy that woman was dressed, that ghost. She had on all this big, bulky jewelry and she had flaming red hair. And Tara would say, she did not. And it's like, oh, okay. And then, so she sort of knew that I was paying attention to what she did. Mm-hmm. But the problem is that when I see them, I look at them, talk to them. Tara could talk to them, but Tara doesn't want to see them with her eyes. So the whole time she is trying to give information to the owners when she clears the house now. She's got a terrible headache, like a migraine. But as soon as she creates the white light and watches them walk into it, she hears this big pop and her headache's gone, and so are they. So everybody does things different. But Tara fought me. Tara still wishes she couldn't do it. And Amber, our older daughter, wishes she could. You always want or don't want something.
So like no nieces or nephews or...
They were good when they were young, like all kids are. Kids can see them. But no, we haven't. And I have no grandchildren and I won't have any. So I don't know what's going to happen. I could still get Tara to do houses sometimes. Mm-hmm. She jumped in when I was going through chemo and radiation. People were still calling, even though I asked them not to. I says, Tara, I'm stressed out. You've got to help me do this. So she really came up and took over. Terrific. But as soon as I was done, she went back to her real job.
Well, I can kind of see if it pains her, not wanting to.
She doesn't have to do it. She doesn't have to block them. But in her mind, if she doesn't have to see him with her eyeballs, it's better than looking at them. It's better to have the headache. It's her choice.
Right. True. Choices. All right. So one of the last questions here. Do earthbounds move their mouths when they talk with you, or is it all telepathic?
Telepathically. I mean, I actually see them move their mouth when they talk, but I don't hear. I mean, I just know what they're saying. And because I don't have to talk out loud, which saves me so much problems, it works out just fine.
Well, and it makes it easier, I'm sure. Like if you have a really obscene, vulgar ghost, which I'm sure the one here in my house was not.
they're creeped out enough to know somebody's in the house that they didn't invite. And then they don't need to know all the details. I mean, if they push me, I can take it. And then as soon as you say, well, he likes the way you shave your legs, that's enough. Okay, I don't need to know anymore. It's like, okay.
Well, when you're like, yeah, you got a 50-something-year-old man standing up there by your bedroom. And I'm like, oh, that son of a bitch.
Exactly. Right.
I don't know. Like you hear fight or flight, and I always tend to go on the fight side of, instead of being scared and wanting to leave the house, I'm like, come here. Which is why.
Just remember, whatever emotion you're showing, if it's loud or really, really intense, you're feeding them. So you're really, truly better off ignoring them. Don't talk to them and just pretend they're not there.
Right. Well, and quick little fun story. So before you came out and did that, and you having been in my house, I have that old house, guys. It's from like the 1850s, used to be a funeral home. And some of the doors upstairs still have the old skeleton key lock on the door. So when you open and close these doors, you hear this scraping noise. And that particular summer, my son was visiting his father out of state. It's just me and the cat in the house. And, I'm the idiot at 11:30 at night in the shower. Now, mind you, my house was on the market too to sell. So it's completely like stage ready. And in the shower, I hear these doors opening and closing. And my first thought was, quit fucking with me from the shower. Right. And then it dawned on me, like, if there's a live person, I just let them know that I'm the only one here and in the shower, like the most vulnerable place you can be. Then the true crime mind kicked in and like, you idiot. No. But so don't yell at the ghost. Do
not yell at the ghost. No, and as soon as you yell at them, or as soon as they realize that they're there, they're going to act up all the more to get a bigger rise out of you. So seriously, just ignore them.
Yeah, that's like, oh, like fine, yell at myself. I saw her question. Divine from DC asked, but I can't find it now. But she asked if the chemo and the radiation affected your ability to see and work with the earthbounds.
No, actually, it did not. It was actually sad, though, because obviously you go to a facility to have these treatments done. And I was sad, very sad, because the amount of ghosts that hang out in these places is horrible. And you're stressed out and you're anxious and you're in pain and you don't know how many people are sick like that? And they'll make those stupid machines that pump the stuff in go off, where those machines are always screaming. Or I saw one take a needle off of a person, and it makes me very angry. I was more angry seeing all that than anything else. But that's, I guess they're going to be anywhere people are. So in any place where there's a lot of problems, they're going to be. That's hospitals, emergency rooms, surgical rooms, all of that.
Well, and blessings and healing to you, Divine. I hope you come through and you
in there
healing.
Hang in there, right? You'll do it. I've done it twice now, so you can do it.
Yes. If a not so nice person dies, is it possible that there is no light?
No, I was invited to the funeral of a man that was put to death by the state. He did heinous things. He really, truly needed to be put to death. And there he was standing next to his pine box, and he had his prison clothes on in the casket. And he had his prison clothes on standing there, and he was in bright white light. And it's there for everybody. Now, in my world, somebody is standing there with a clipboard deciding when you walk in that light which way you're going. But the light is there for everybody. And most of the people that really did bad things when they were alive, or people that were put to death by the states, they usually actually do not go to the light. I think half of them are afraid of retribution, and the other half, and then they'll jump into a portal. And these are the ones that end up in people's houses that come out of a portal. So, no, but the white light is for absolutely I saw the white light around my pygmy hedgehog that died. So everything that breathes has got white light around it.
And I'm sure usually humans are probably going to be the ones 99% of the time that's going to make a choice not to, unless it's like a pet.
Exactly. I mean, the white light didn't last a half hour for Pins, or for Pinda, the hedgehog. I mean, she was in the light pretty fast. But why not? I mean, I've seen wild animals that haven't gone into the light. You have no idea how impressive a ghost moose is when it's standing in front of your truck. It's huge and still ugly as ever. And it's just, moose are very ugly beasts. And it's like, whoa. And I know they move, you don't go through them. They don't go through you like the movies and TV. But it's like, wow. So, no, they're choices.
All right. So for real, maybe this time, one of the last questions, because I just looked at the time. I'm like, oh, we're after 11. You got somewhere to be? How can you tell the difference between earthbound spirits in a room full of people and the living? What stands out?
Okay. An earthbound spirit is usually got the clothes on that they were buried in. And if they were standing in front of a chair, say, they're not solid. And if I squinted, I could see the chair through them. I could still see their hair color, and if they had nail polish on, or, I mean, the shoes that they have on, I can see all of that, but they're not solid like we are. And so that's the difference. And in a room like that, if I'm there just as a guest and not there working, they don't even know I can see them, because why would they know? Unless I wink at them and they go, me? It's like, yeah, you. Then they don't even know I can see them.
Right. So why, it's not like, I used to wonder when I first met you, how many years ago? Many, 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 many. It's been a minute. If like there was some sort of light or beacon or something about you that the earthbound, you'd be like, hey, go bug her. She can help us.
That will happen when I have to do a public building. Like if I do a county morgue, or I do a floor of a hospital, or a section of a mall. All of a sudden, I pick one or two people, come on with me, let's go walk down there, and then I'll let you go. Well, I turn around and there's 6 or 7 of them. And by the time I get to where I was headed, now there's 10 or 12 behind. It's like the Pied Pipers, like I'm blowing a flute or something, and they're following me. And all I have to do is stop and open the light, and I could probably get 15 to 20, and I can keep the light open that long. And then I have to stop and get a minute, and then open it up again and let the rest through. But so I can do a lot at once. I do not talk to any of them, though. That's, if I'm doing a group, no talking. Light and go in, because I can't keep the light open and talk at the same time. So.
Well, and I'm sure that would turn into a very long, long, long session if you had to talk to each one of them and give the option. Is there a message you want to?
Well, look at Zoom.
Right.
I mean, some of them, no, there's nothing in your house. There's no negative energy, and you're fine. You go to the next one, and there's the ghost giving me hand signals to tell them something. It's like, oh my God, what do these numbers mean? I don't know what these numbers mean. So
I have no idea.
no. Then the who's ever in the little box will go, oh, that was the address where they lived. Well, there you go. Now you know for sure it's your dad. So I'm not a psychic, which is probably a really good thing.
Well, and I get a lot of, like, when you're coming out to the stores, like, how do I book a reading with Marianne? I'm like, you don't. It's not a psychic mediumship thing. It's,
Come talk to me. That's all. Bring a picture. Let me look at a picture. Come and talk to me. I talk to cupboards. I don't charge to talk. So.
Right. Well, let's go ahead and start wrapping up, just because it's already 11:15. So if you want to call and leave Marianne a message, you would get the phone number there on her website. And this is where you could also order dream pillows, quinseeds, any of her.
Everything the store sells, right? The quinseeds, everything that the store sells, you can get off the website. And we've got 2 new charms, which I will show you next week. It's a frog and a dolphin. Oh. So they're really cute. So, yeah.
And then if you want to join us for a Zoom, the next one that has availability is on the 18th, which is a Monday, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Now, anybody from anywhere in the world can join us. Just be mindful of the time difference. We limit that to 30 people, so there's only going to be 32. The 30 guests, Marianne, myself, and I'm just there muting and unmuting. I'm not there other than doing tech. It will not be recorded, and it is not it could be recorded for promotional, but it's not recorded to be hosted on YouTube. Nobody else is going to know what's going on in your life and your privacy, so you don't have to worry about that. Everybody gets asked 2 questions, and Marianne can answer if you have earthbound spirits, if you have negative energy or a curse on you, or if there's a portal. Yeah. So pick 2 out of the 3, and you'll get to ask. And she'll answer you live, but you've got to be able to have a camera and microphone on. So most new cell phones, laptops, tablets can handle Zoom and shouldn't have a problem being able to turn your mic and camera on. Otherwise, she can't see and tell you what's going on. But
people put real pretty backgrounds behind them.
Oh yeah, don't do the virtual backgrounds. That's got to be all.
I need to see inside the house.
Right. Even if you're sitting in front of a blank wall like I am, she can still see into your house. So if you want to try playing Stump Marianne with a white wall, go for it. Not going to stump her. Anyway. But we'll give an effort for trying.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, January 18th. Once that one's full, we'll look into February for the next rounds. And otherwise, join us next week here on YouTube, or if you found us on Facebook, either one of those pages, because that hosts also on the store page, Goddess Elite's page, as well as Marianne's page. And it's on both Marianne's YouTube and our YouTube. So 4 places to find us for Wednesday morning ghost chats. Bring your coffee, bring your tea. Today was the Yoda, or not Yoda, Buddha. There we go. Buddha. Too much Mandalorian, too much Star Wars going on. And join us. So
have a good week, and catch the YouTube at 5:30 today. Doing letters today, so
yeah, you get double the Marianne on Wednesday.
On Wednesday, yep, you're just all over. So okay, everybody try that for that new moon next Wednesday, and we'll talk. Let's see how many got it done.
We'll have to keep an eye out for a new moon that happens around this time frame, and everybody do it together.
That's a good idea. Yeah. We'll the page is up for the whole year when the new moons are already. They're up. The webmaster put them up, so they're all up. So we'll have to go to that.
Yeah, we'll have to take a look at that and see if there's one, even if maybe it's not like a Wednesday morning, if it's like a doable time for most work schedules, maybe.
Right. Let's see if we can do it. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, be a massive fighting.
Right. Sounds good.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next week at 10 a.m.
Thank
All right.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, guys.